Good evening and welcome to this edition of Three Good Generals. You might be surprised that Mr. Shriyar is not joining us today. Well, he's a little indisposed, so I'm standing in for him. That's the first thing. Of course, this podcast is coming live to you on P Gurus. It's coming on live on Strategic Frontlines and of course on Ghana Shot. So at the outset, I'd request all of you to subscribe to all three channels and of course forward this to all your friends and who you feel should see. We're going to have a very interesting discussion today. We're going to talk about India-US relations because they're taking funny turns, especially after Sharm-El-Shaikh. Like what Gen Dushyant was telling me, this Sharam with the Sheikh. Okay, so let's see how it goes. And to join me in this, trialogue, the other two good generals, General Dushyant Singh and General Rajiv Narayanan. Let me welcome them. There they are. Very nice. Well, uh, we're meeting now after a week, and we are at an interesting time. A lot of things are happening. The Gaza conflict is has supposed to have come to an end, which I don't believe. It's come into some temporary pause and some hostages exchanges all has taken place, but there's a long road ahead, right? The Afghanistan-Pakistan spat has also gone into a ceasefire mode, but there's more to come. This is just a trailer, but there's more to come from Pakistan. Okay. In the meantime, China has, declared a rare earth war of kinds on the world, saying that they are very clear that they don't want to give rare earths to USA, and that has put USA on a spin. And all of a sudden, they find that look, they need all the French possible to stem the Chinese tide. And you see all strange comments coming from Scott Bessent and company that we are going to deal with allies like India. But this ally like India was forgotten when it came to tariffs. Okay, at that time it was a violator. And then of course yesterday Trump made the grand announcement that yesterday or today morning he made that announcement that he's spoken to Mr. Modi and Mr. Modi has said he's going to stop buying Russian oil. Later in the day, just in the evening, the MEA has put out a message to say that Mr. Modi never spoke to Trump. So where is this question of the whole thing coming? So funny things happening. But let me put it this way: the India-US relations are changing. Right? At some point, somewhere, USA started realizing that it cannot go ahead without India. Right? And that is why they're doing a flip back. And we're going to see why this flip has come, what are India's choices, and where do we go ahead. Right? I'll first request General Rajiv Narayanan. Rajiv, just take on from here, and then I'll get to General Dushyant, and then I'll put my comments. I'll change the batting order because the captain of the team is not here.
Okay, you changed the batting order to the way '92 World Cup was played. That smash first and then coast. So
Yeah.
I touch it in four parts briefly. So the Sharm el-Sheikh, well, General Dushyant called it Sharam Kar Sheikh. I call it the Sharm el-Sheikh circus. Because why do I call it the circus? This was supposed to be a grand peace plan discussing the Gaza peace plan, but the main protagonists were not there. Neither was Hamas there, represented, nor Israelis were there. What Gaza plan have you discussed? It was just a photo ops and not and calling various people who are not even involved in this. Then, so that leads to the question: who signed the peace agreement, if there was any? I don't think. So till now, the remaining 20 male hostages have been given. There are supposed to have been total 28 mortal remains, out of which, including the two now, 9 is gone. 19 they are saying they can't access. They need special equipment, which Israel is not buying. Now, there is nothing signed. Now, all this was to have happened with the international stabilization force located.
मौका है.
Of course, वो है ही नहीं. Israelis have come to the yellow line, the first line, the yellow line. But there is no international stabilization force. Nobody has committed anything. Then, when you say that you want to demilitarize the Hamas and remove them, how do you identify them? बात क्या कर रहे हो? What are you talking? He'll just throw his weapon and he'll blend with the people. He's the same person. There is nothing that you have except for the senior leaders whom you had your photographs and your eyes on. The rest of the fighters, you don't know who they are. And there are reports coming out that open execution Hamas is doing of Palestinians in Gaza who are not supporting them. With varying figures. Some say 20 have been killed, some say 50 have been killed. So basically, it's just a circus. It's just looking at a spark to ignite again. Now, you say it is a Gaza peace plan. Mahmoud Abbas had come from the head of the Palestinian Authority, had come in a suit. People would have noted his lapel pin was a key. The key is the symbol from river to the sea. You're coming for a peace plan and you're coming wearing that same symbol from the river to the sea. So what peace plan are we talking about? So it is just a showmanship, maybe trying to show to the world that look, I am doing so much, make a Nobel Prize nahi mila. About it, nothing else. And when we look at the Indo-Pacific, where you had mentioned that Besant had made that famous statement, Indo-Pacific, allies, this, that. Ab yaad aa raha? Itne mahino se you never remembered anybody. You were a dead economy. Everything was done. But what has happened, which they will regret, is that because of the tariffs on everybody, they've all coalesced together. And all of us are trying to do our trade deals with each other, especially in the region when you see. Australia already had, they want to improve it further. New Zealand wants to do it. South Korea is there with you. Japan is wanting to deal with you. So suddenly US is finding that he's on a slippery slope. Why? EU's deal is pushing through at quite a rapid pace. And I'm sure by end of this month or beginning of next month, the deal will be done. Then the US works in a vacuum. He has no deals with anybody as yet. Then you become in a vacuum. The only thing left is the Middle East or the West Asia, which is also up in smoke. You never know what is going to happen. Then where does it go? China has its own internal turmoil, but like we always know, they try to strike back. So they have struck back. So for rare earth, they don't want to give it to them. They are telling us that they'll give it to us, but don't give it to the USA. They have also done the repeat of 100% tariff on all American ships which are docking in Chinese ports, and any American product, 100% handling charges at the port. What the US has done. US was getting 100% tariff from 1st November. Let us see whether he does or not. Because what he doesn't realize is bulk of the dependencies on day-to-day items and almost everything, whether you take furniture, your crockery, cutlery, you name it, the dependency of US is on China. That is what is the bulk that he imports. And if he's going to put so much of tariff, then what happens to his economy? So this is, he's suddenly finding that Indo-Pacific like-minded countries are joining together, minus him. So I think the State Department and others must have been feeling that there is a problem, major problem that they are facing. Now, I would say yes, our strategic autonomy has paid dividends. You see, the trade has not been hit. If you look at the GTRI figures, September, your trade has gone up. It's not reduced. Even the affected ones, which we felt that your jewelry and garments and shrimps, nothing has gone down. And electronics has gone through the roof, 60% increase. See, the biggest advantage India has is that the US big MNCs across all sectors have full faith in India. Just imagine, so the biggest, one of the largest AI, Google is investing in Andhra Pradesh. All these big ticket companies are leaning on you. They realize even if you look at your normal trade defense deal also, yeah, it may be slowing down a bit because of pressures, political pressures, but the MIC is not giving up on you. MIC generally has not given up on you. And this is where he would be feeling that if I don't change tack, but how do you change tack? Our EAM had mentioned that while the European Union trade deal is going at fast pace, as far as US is concerned, we have not yet reached a common ground to start negotiation. So then is desperation, talking of I don't want to harm him, as if a threat, that as if he can harm somebody in India and wants a regime change. He thinks India is Venezuela, where he openly made the statement that he has given the get-go to CIA to have a regime change in Venezuela. So he is actually confused at the moment, his team. But one thing is clear, now that Lavaro has been made to shut up, Lutnick is also generally shut up. It is essentially Besant and Trump who are now making statements. And it becomes contradictory. How much can Trump pull back? Because there is going to be tremendous loss of face. What he will also try to look at the off-ramp for himself. I think he's waiting for the Supreme Court judgment, and from there then he might start pulling tack backwards, especially for India. So given all the antics and statements, I think the desperation level is now going high, because he's got to hold hand for his agricultural sector. He was planning on about 14 to 15 billion when the government comes, when the government starts functioning, the shutdown goes off. But the agricultural secretary and the other economists are saying they need around 50 billion. Anything between 30 to 50 billion. His total earning from tariff, from his own people, of course, which he will not agree, is 31 billion. How does he pay? If everything goes, then what is he left with? So that is the catch-22 that he has, that the tariffs are coming home to hurt. And suddenly he finds that US is working in a vacuum, and he needs now his allies. So the question remains, how is he going to change tack? So I leave it here and leave the floor for Gen
Yeah,
Dushyant.
I think thanks a lot. I thought you brought out very major issues that USA and Trump are in a fix. Actually, they don't know which side to go. Okay, I mean, just to highlight a couple of issues, the call from the US market, I mean, I wouldn't say the home constituency, is for export of soya beans and agri products. That's not going. China is not picking up anything. Okay, and on the other hand, they need rare earths, which China is ensuring that it is not giving anything to USA. That's a bind. It's a big bind with China is in. I mean, USA is in. And if USA has to get out of this trap, it needs all its friends. It needs a lot of friends. It's not that others don't need USA. We also need USA. There's no doubt about it. If you have to get out of this trap which China has set, okay, for everyone. But USA is going to be hardest hit, and it needs India. Right. At this stage, India has got its own issues. We have something going on between Pakistan and Afghanistan. We have our own stake in whatever is happening in Sharm-El-Shaikh. Whether it is good, bad, or ugly, the fallout will be there for us. And then we witnessed that great scene of Shahbaz Sharif sucking up to Trump like never before. So all these things are there. So I request General Dushyant, yeah, please come in and your views on this whole story.
Okay, so a lot of points have been covered by Gen Rajiv Narayanan. I'll only come on those issues if there is something new to add. First of all, the first thing which all of you must have noticed is that RIC was missing from this Nautanki. I think that is a very clear message that this particular show making was more for personalized optics of the president of America rather than anything else. That is point number one. Point number two, America, I agree with you all that it is under a tremendous pressure. One more thing which is adding pressure to America is the no government issue which is happening in the
Shutdown,
US.
yeah.
Yes, so that is putting a lot of pressure by the Democrats on the US president, and he doesn't know how to go about it. In addition to the points which General Rajiv has mentioned, the third thing which I feel, because of the various pressures which all of you have mentioned, they are now looking for an off ramp, and the only country which possibly can give them an off ramp in this entire rigmarole is either the Indians or the EU. Now, EU is divided house, and it's always easier to interact with with a country rather than a bloc. If you interact with a bloc, there'll be number of other players who would be talking in different tones. The highlight being one of the great highlights of this शर्म शर्म की जो कहानी हुई है वहां पर is Meloni's continuous grins and smiles which she was giving for every statement every statement which was being made out there. The fourth thing which I want to highlight here is that in the deal 20-point program, there is a very interesting thing. There is a para which says that we will strictly curb extremism, terrorism, etc., etc. Where is the word Hamas in this? The word Hamas is missing in this. And to my gut feeling, and maybe I may be wrong in the later part of this entire development, like as you all said, there's a lot of churn going on. So we are not very sure how the things will move in future. But definitely the missing of the Hamas has actually given credence to Hamas rather than putting it on the back foot. They are looking at if POTUS could have a deal in Trump 1.0 with Taliban, why not with Hamas? Because while leaving Sharm-El-Sheikh, President Trump said that I'm not sure about two state. What does that mean? These were his parting words. I'm not sure about two state. We are still looking at it. That means Hamas is still alive. All that they have done is they have plucked the low hanging fruits of the 20-point deal. What is going to happen in the future is very, very uncertain. Next, big issue. Sometimes things which are told in a matter of laughter or getting the crowd to cheer you, there is a deeper meaning behind it. When he said Mr. President, he was referring to the president of Israel. Please pardon Netanyahu. I'm sure all of you would like to pardon Netanyahu. And there was a big sound going on. Maybe the low hanging fruits or this deal of 20 point, maybe including this particular issue. Because Netanyahu himself is going through a lot of cases
Problem.
back home. So maybe one of the pressures on Netanyahu was that look, we can twist you. So that is another angle. I thought we can discuss that if it is okay. Then India, not represented in this particular meet by its apex leadership, has also given some kind of a messaging to America. In addition to the point about looking at that it cannot survive the tariffs, etc., etc., it is also that it cannot do without India. How can you do without a country which is the fourth largest economy? It's near impossible. So if you look at this particular dynamic, minus the US, that Trump, because he put the 50% tariff, we have not lost out much. There has been a dip of about some 10% or 12%. It came in the papers today, but we have also had a increase in the Chinese trade and also in the EU trade. So therefore, we have a cushion, like what Jan Shankar was referring to. So India is finding its cushions all over. And I think India has also come up with some people are talking about that. Let's keep our dependency on various nations at not more than 25% as far as our energy is concerned. This may be one of the ways to look forward ahead and stabilize our energy needs. I think that is also a point which we need to deliberate upon in detail. uh, International focus. There are three types of Trumps, as we all know. Trump the businessman. I think the Trump the businessman is going more heavier as far as this particular deal is concerned. He's looking at reconstruction, he's looking at development. He wants to change Gaza, like the way he said. He wants to make Gaza into a kind of a,
Rivera.
you know, yeah,
Rivera.
Rivera future, and this and that. So he's looking at markets. So how much of this will be accepted by the people of Hamas who are being shot by, sorry, people of Gaza who are being shot by Hamas? I have my serious doubt. The next big issue I want to say is about Hamas itself, character of Hamas. If you study the character of Hamas right from the time they emanated from Qutb's philosophy, and I'm talking of the 80s, I'm not even talking of today, they have consistently followed the Qutb philosophy, which means religion and rule will go together. Because unless a state is not ruled by the religious principles, that's not a state. So therefore, Taliban again kicks in here. The Taliban model, I suppose, is what the Hamas is looking at. Then statement of sorry, India, as far as India's position is concerned, I think India remains steady on its own path of two-state solution, and then supporting dialogue and humanitarian crisis being supported, etc., etc. That, to my mind, it is India's front. But on the back of it, India has changed, and this has been recognized by even the President of America. He says Mr. Modi is a person who has been a. No, he has said that prime ministers to change every year and things like that. But now he has retained. My friend has been able to be a prime minister for 13, 14 years. This reality is probably dawning on him that he's a man who's street smart, like him. So therefore, that value based relationship may be slightly going towards the pragmatic, or as you call it, as deal making international policy, but there'll be some changes in that. Look at how much is at stake. India announced that by 2030 we would like to have how many? Yeah, a trade with USA of $500 billion. अरे बिजनेसमैन हिलेगा नहीं तो क्या करेगा? This fellow is crying for 60 billion, 80 billion. $500 billion is no mean amount. Today we are at around 125. Last year it was around 125 or 130, or I think it was 191 to be very precise. 500 billion in within 3-4 years. America will be like a like a ice cream. It will grab this particular offer. So he is realizing that he's missing on a lot of other issues besides what you all have said. The highlights of this particular, and I'll stop here because I must bring in some kind of hilariousness to this whole Notanki. Because if it is Notanki, we must call it as Notanki where all it happened. So the highlight of Sharm-El-Shaikh was Meloni's grins, Pakistani prime ministers being made a hijra in that entire show. Virtually, he was being toyed around like a kid. Will you or will you not? and he was shaking his head like a, I thought it was a small child looking for a candy there, that to me looked like the thing. And the third issue, which was of a great thing, was the Macron's handshake. I think these were three issues which probably stole the limelight of Sharm-El-Sheikh. Besides, of course, proving it to be more of a Trump personal show than anything else. I don't think there was any discussion or debate. Also, if you don't have Israel and Hamas on the table at Sharm-El-Sheikh, what kind of a debate and what kind of a discussion would you have had? If you not had RICs represented in some form or the other, what kind of a debate could you have had? But there are some positives which we can discuss later on. If this deal really goes through, I think there is a lot for India to gain from this, especially from an economic perspective. You all are aware, IMEC, U2, I2, U2, etc., etc. So I'll stop here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I thought both General Dushyant and General Rajiv Narayanan have brought out very important aspects. Now, let me stitch both these together and put across the Indian point and where we stood in this entire business. And I look beyond Sharm el Sheikh and also impinge into the India US relations and where they're going. See, the first thing is like India's absence was felt out there. That's why Trump was forced to talk that India is a great country. He said before he spoke of Pakistan and all. So he had, that was there. But like what was mentioned earlier, India has made a mark by not being there and RIC not being there. So I think that's a very significant thing which one has to understand. The second thing is more, signaling to USA about India-US relations because that's something which we need to focus on first, which General Narayanan also spoke of. See, our RBI governor recently went to USA and there he spoke. What did he say? Our economy will go, we'll reach our whatever markers we have, and ours is a domestic driven economy, not dependent on others. So that for the RBI governor to go and tell this in USA is a big thing. I mean, just think if the Fed had to go out somewhere, right, and talk about it, the Fed governor, it makes a big thing. So I think that was a very major issue which was told to US. Remember, the trade talks are still on. They're not collapsed between India and US. They're at a pretty advanced stage from what one can make out. Okay. Then a major thing which India did in this period, all this was going on, the Afghanistan Pakistan spat was going on, and we were talking with Taliban. Now, the 6 day engagement of Mutaki, the Taliban foreign minister in India, is a major message to US, China, and Pakistan. And this is something which, if there's a beautiful article in Nikkei Asia which analyzes this, this changes the whole scene. Now, virtually anyone wants to enter Afghanistan, they have to reckon with India. I mean, let's be very clear about it. It's not only Pakistan; it is China and USA also. So there is a lot of change which is happening. And at this point of time, in the past 3 4 days, I'm talking from the time that Sharmal Sheikh to now, who all have we interacted with? India. India has normalized relations with Canada. Their foreign minister came and she's met everyone, and the whole thing is going ahead, full steam ahead. And they have started taking action against these Khalistanis and all there for their own good in Canada. So Canada has come around, right? Then you see Brazil. Today, the vice president of Brazil is in India and he's talking. Come February, he said very precisely, February, President Lula will be here to take the whole thing forward. Brazil is looking at India uh, in a big way. And interestingly, they're not looking at China that way or USA that way. They're looking for a major, escape route from both these superpowers or whatever. Sri Lanka. The Prime Minister of Sri Lanka is here today. I'm forgetting her name. Amini, I'm forgetting her name. Oh, sorry. Harini, right? Uh, yeah, that lady is here. Australia, our defense minister 4 days back was in Australia signing a defense deal. and they are looking for expanding the FTA. UK, of course, Keith Starmer was here. We know that. He came with a huge thing. EFTA has been signed. EU, like what General Narayanan said, everything is on track. So I don't see why we have to worry. That's the first thing. We are on a stronger wicket today, vis-a-vis 4 5 days, 4 5 weeks back also. Okay. Now just think what General Narayanan said about the Google data center which is being established at Vishakhapatnam. Our Prime Minister also went and attended that inauguration. What does it signify? That America Incorporated is not bothered about Trump. Their biggest, their biggest investment is in India. Okay, it directly tells Trump, dead man. I mean, the American economy could be dead, not the Indian economy. Okay, and already,
And
yeah. So
And
we are
I,
already,
I I just I just want I just wanted to add there that it's not only the Google. There are 10 companies lined up. They are
lined up
actually
more
coming
who
in.
want to come to India. Their
Yeah,
global
yeah.
capability centers want to establish this thing. And I was just listening to a dialogue on semiconductors. You see the way of semiconductor industry is expanding and actually blowing up. Right? Is something I didn't expect it. Okay. So I mean it's we are in a different league altogether. Now in all this, when we say India-US relations, we shouldn't forget that we have equally a heavyweight like China on the sidelines. And let me put some data marks on India China kind of a relationship. I won't say China kind of a relationship about China itself. Incidentally, as Google is setting up its data center here, Microsoft has announced today that it is quitting China in 26 completely. Just think, where will Microsoft go? If it quits China, it has to come to India. The shift is here. Okay. Okay. China is still going through deflation. All their indices are deflating. Their demographic crisis is only becoming bigger and bigger.
Bigger
New
and
things
bigger.
about their demographic crisis are coming out. Right? We think that they're still exporting technology, volumes are high, all this is happening. No profits. Profit margins are low. Subsidies are huge. What is subsidy leading to? Bonds. And today the debt to their GDP ratio is something in the region of 312%. And all on bonds. Okay, and I keep telling this. You know, the Chinese state is becoming richer, the people are becoming poorer. Because the bonds are at their expense. If some today or tomorrow, whenever if the bonds have to be redeemed, China will collapse. And they have sold long-term bonds to their own people. They have forced their own people to bet on the communist system. Because if the communist system fails, the bonds will fail. Right? And of course, there's a Canton Fair. I'll come back to day-to-day affairs. Canton Fair is the biggest fair in China. And from there, we might say anything about USA, but the fact is, USA is missing in that fair. There's no export of any item from today. It's at the lowest level export of any item from China to uh,
US.
USA. They are looking at EU, China, to bail them out, and EU is not bailing them out. I mean, we might say anything else about their other economies. No one is bailing China out, and they are making good their sales to Southeast Asia and Africa and all, where the margins are negative. So China is in a big problem. In fact, my way of looking at it is that China has taken the step of rare earths and all that. It might get into serious trouble with USA. But be that as it may, I brought out the Chinese angle to put things in perspective because when we talk of India-US relations, the China angle cannot be ignored. Right. With this as a thing, the issue is how do we see India-US relations going forward, taking into account that the circus has happened there. The animals in that circus are finished. They're now loafing free in Sharm-El-Shaikh. There's
Yes.
another circus which is happening in Pakistan. And
Yeah.
Pakistan has got a big circus internally, TLP, Baluch, Afghanistan, Pasni, ye, wo, all that, and US is fully into it, along with China and Russia. So there's a thing going on here in all this, and plus we have our own trade equations with China. And this, whether we like it or not, Trump can't but enjoy Pakistan sucking up to him. And he's got his favorite field marshal there. So how do we navigate this? How do we see this going forward? Rajiv, your views first, and then we'll take the same
I'll
issue.
just add one point which Gen Dushyant had mentioned of Trump when he was departing in passing said about the two-state threat. Because he, right at the beginning when he took oath, he arm twisted Sisi, the Egyptian president, and said that
Yes.
Palestine will come in North Sinai. El Arish is the place which has an international airport and port and everything, and that is the place that he has identified. It's about 50 odd miles from west of Rafah, west of Gaza. That is the Rafah crossing, and that is the place where he actually wants Palestine to come, because he also realizes that with Hamas out there and the way the radicalization is taking place, if those people are there, there is no Rivera which is coming up. His pipe dream of Rivera will never come up. Now, when we look at Pakistan, so the best part I found, I was listening to Pak TV on the YouTube. The chap is crying that all our missiles are named after Afghan raiders who came and raided India. And today Afghanistan is hitting
Yeah.
us.
Ghazni.
Ghori, Abdali and all, and these people are the ones who are thrashing us today. Now, I personally feel US is playing a double game with Pakistan, exactly like what Pakistan did with them. Like Mutakil came here, but he was proscribed by the UN Security Council, and he could not move out. The P5 gave the clearance, and he first went to Russia and then he came here. That means the US also realizes, let India also finger Pakistan from the other side. Now he is facing so many problems. That chap has gone and nodded everything sitting on his lap, Shahbaz Sharif. How does he sell the idea to the people that Pakistan is going to defend the Jews? Saudi Arabia has asked for 25,000 troops. If Saudi has asked for 25,000 troops, you think Trump will be happy with 25? He will ask at least 30 to 50,000 that you got to come there. That means a core gone, sir. More than a core gone. Where will he get it out from today? And I'm amazed at their thinking. All that Saad Rizvi was planning to do was take a peaceful rally and protest from Lahore to Islamabad and protest in front of the US Embassy. All you could have done is put containers around the roads leading to the US Embassy and tell them from here no more. And if you got to give something in writing, we'll give it. You went and tried to arrest him. And now Lahore is in flames. If you thought you could take out 4 crore, think again now. Lahore is in flames. 10 crore he can't take out, because the moment our Raksha Mantri, COS and CNS made the threat, they started running away to sprucing up their defenses. Whole lot of them had got damaged during Ops Sindoor by the army and the BSFs. Now you got to prepare. So 1 corps is busy preparing defenses. And I'm sure 10 corps is also busy out there. 30, he can't take it out. It is Sialkot and Punjab. Lahore, he can't touch now. 31, he can't touch because that is where all is, apart from Sui, the other oil and gas finding is out there, where the Fauji Foundation is doing everything with JVs with people outside. So 31 corps is busy with that. That leaves him with 5 corps. I'm sure troops of 5 corps must also be getting sucked in for defense of Karachi and going into Quetta and other places. 12 and 11, Peshawar, Quetta and Peshawar he can't take out. 1 corps is busy out there. That leaves him with 2 corps whose 1 division is already in Quetta. किधर से निकालेगा, किसको निकालेगा? आग उसने खुद लगा दी, sir. all fronts. He has a Western front, Eastern front to हमारे साथ. He is the one who created the problem. His internal problem is his own creation. Plus he has a half front that where does he take out troops? Yes तो बोल दिया है ट्रम्प को. Yes sir, 3 bags full. Now where does he take out his troops from? So Pakistan actually is facing a crisis. Asif Munir is facing a crisis that what the hell am I going to do? Where am I going to send? IMF staff has said, okay, they have done that we can give, but the IMF has not yet cleared the 1.2 billion tranche, because essentially they have found between
11.
23, 24, 24, 25 irregularities worth 11 billion, sir.
Yeah,
11 billion in the import bill. 11 billion. And if you count up the IMF out of the 3 models in which they are being funded, it works out to 11.4. Means you've already set the platform to embezzle 11 billion. And also what has been told is what all they had to do to change, like reduce the defense and various other things in the budget. They've done nothing. Shahbaz Sharif asked for extension, he has not got it. And I'm sure Shahbaz Sharif must have gone crying to Trump on 2 issues. One is Afghanistan, another is the funding. So Pakistan is facing a tough time. My worry main is their nuclear assets. The fissile material and the nuclear asset, whatever is left, that is going to be a big issue. Because the Pak army itself is getting the rank and file are getting highly radicalized. The mass surrenders going on along the Afghan fronts. Punjabis are fighting, the others, Sindhis, Baluchis, Pathans, and even northern area people, quite a lot of them are refusing to fight. So they are radicalized. They say they want Sharia, so why should we not have Sharia? So it's a dangerous thing for a radicalized country to have weapons. We need to be careful about that. It's not just the warhead, even the fissile material. I'll stop it here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think this focus on Pakistan was needed because a lot of what happens in Pakistan will impinge on India-US relations, because Pakistan-US relations are going on a trajectory which definitely are not correct for us, not good for us. Because USA, as we all know, wants crypto. Trump wants crypto. They want minerals, Pasni. Then, of course, Chinese have reacted to Pasni, whatever listing, plus a put in Afghanistan, all this. So, well, in this context and in the overall context, General Dushyant, where do you see our India-US relations going? And do you see, and especially after Trump has said, Russia will not take, India has said that they'll not take Russian oil, or has he put us on a spot by wantedly saying that, is this a trap that he's trying to put us in? And if this is a trap, should we respond and how should we take it forward? Your views.
So first of all, I think India is already cognizant of this particular trap what you're talking about, and that's why there are noises now coming in the media about balancing our trade, balancing our relationships, giving equal weightage to various factors so that we are not caught in a limbo. In case if one source dries up, we are absolutely held high and dry. So that is one issue which I thought right up front, let me just tell you. But more importantly, I feel that India should have the mongoose strategy. And now, what is this mongoose strategy? There are 4 snakes which are fighting with each other. One is US, the bigger snake, anaconda. The second one is the Chinese, which are possibly boa constrictors, and you have the third, which is EU, which is trying to imitate the other two, and fourth is Russia. Now they're all intertwined amongst themselves, and we really don't know who is going after whom. Okay, so what does the mongoose do? Mongoose starts, chipping away at the weaker guys. So we have started doing that, FTAs with individual countries, EU, UK. You can see a pattern here. So people are being, exploited by the mongoose quite well. So I think I like that idea of a mongoose strategy. Where are the sticklers for us? Sticklers are tariff. I think tariff, slowly they are realizing that they will be left alone in this global trade world, because trade is no more a single powers hegemony. Even the Chinese will realize it later on, that people will find alternative to rare earths. It's not that the rare earths are not available. Others were not making an effort. Asani se mil raha tha. It was being given, it was being taken at low rates, so people were buying it. It may take some time. There'll be some kind of a hitch, but India need not worry from that. Then the second thing which I find is that what is worrying India Pakistan is the strategic alignment differences which have started happening. There has been some pivots which are not favorable to India. For example, pivot of US to Pakistan, which I feel it's a very, very short-term tactical kind of a movement, and it will die down after a while. Once, like, they realize the tariff thing, they will also realize what will happen if they go. And that's why you're finding the point which you gave about permission being given to Mutaki to visit, etc. These are all part of off-ramping which they are looking at. And while the Afghani foreign minister was here, while the attack was going on Pakistan, while the Sharm-El-Sheikh conversation is going on, India's commercial team, which is commerce secretary, who is leading this particular trade talk, is already in the US. He's today
Yes.
also in the US, and he's
Yeah.
trying to get a deal. I think the off ramp will come somewhere there. But what they are debating is the timing. When should this off ramp come? Which will be the ideal time for both Pakistan, US, and India to say Allah Allah, very good, very good, very good time. My take is India is resisting because of the Bihar elections. That's an internal issue, but there is a point in it. One of the experts did say about it that because of the Bihar election, there is a little bit of a rigidity in our stance. Then, as far as the uh, opportunities which we are going to get, I think in the ISF formulation, Israel is our great opportunity, because Israel is one person which might not, a country which might not agree to Turkey being part of this stabilization force. It may not be also willing to take the Indonesians. The reason being, what I'm trying to get at. All the three countries which they have mentioned are kind of pro Palestinian. So they would like certain actors in the ISF which would be more closer to, and with which Israel has a better relationship. On the internal issue of containing Hamas, I don't think they can contain Hamas. There again, we will have an opportunity in controlling the West Asian Samojal which is taking place, and possibly building our relations much deeper with Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which of late have been a little on the low side. I think that should give us an opportunity. Then second next point which I want to highlight is on the nuclear issue. Very interesting thing which has happened in the last few days or few months is that there have been mass resignations by colonels and majors in the Pakistan army. So that is one good trend as far as we are concerned, because they are the actual backbone of Pakistan army. Their leadership is too busy in ruling Bahawalpur, ruling Muridke, or ruling in Ravla Court, etc. So I think there is an opportunity there that the Pakistan military may be slowly. Even men are doing a mass resignation leave. 1,500, I believe, left in one go in one of the incidents. And with what is happening in Baluchistan and KKP, these numbers are only going to increase. They're not going to reduce. So the next issue is, I'm not going in any random order. I was just jotting
That's
down.
okay.
Next issue which I felt was this, managing Trump. I think for the next 3 months, 3 years, we need to manage Trump tactically, and to do that, we need to take out, lure him with his best. Out of the three personalities, the third personality is of businessman. It's a very good opportunity for us to trade business with our strategic interests, where we are looking at. Defense, that is one area where we need to actually have more options. Whether you look at the aircraft, whether you look at the air defense, whether you look at the drones, I mean, there are a number engines. There are a number of issues where I'm not saying that France will not give it, but look at the timing. France is already having 512 odd aircraft deliveries for Rafale. Can it manage so many for us? It's going to be a difficult task. We have pending orders of Tejas for the last 5 6 years. We have not been able to take out the Tejas Mark 1 only, leave aside Mark 1 Alpha because of lack of engine. So I think we need to have a variety of people to take us across that particular thing. So Trump, the businessman, has to be targeted. That's the way I look at it. And it is a tactical move. It is not a it is a tactical move to see through these 3 years or 3.5 years, whatever is left of it. And if he's so desirous of his, so-called peacemaker thing, it's a good thing. Somewhere it will give us some opportunities,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
somewhere we can always support him where it is least hurting us. So therefore, I think we need to play smart. That mongoose has to be very smart out here, and opportunities which are lying as far as Pakistan is concerned, this narrative has to be built that look, areas west of Indus were not yours. You never controlled it. No one from India ever controlled areas except for Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who went up to Kabul. And Maharaja Ranjit Singh is here in India. So it is destined to fail. Pakistan is destined to fail west of Indus. And earlier they realized it, better it is. Otherwise, today itself there was a big article on, can we stop five-way split of Pakistan? And Afghanis know this much better than any other country in the world as to what can happen to them. And to me, it looks like even the pattern, the way this particular war went on for 6 days, I think they are also looking at tiring them out in a. They used to call us thousand cuts, no? I think they will do thousand axing
more,
of
thousand more.
not cut. They'll be axing thousand times to Pakistan,
Mhm.
which will realize its folly what they have done. So with this, I think I'll stop. I think it's an era of tactical pragmatism, and do
Yeah,
not focus so much on strategic issues. Do not focus so much on value based international relations. I think the value based international relationship has gone out of the window. We have to look at
yeah.
our interest in a tactical manner. That's the way ahead as far as we are concerned, whether it is Pakistan or the US or China for that matter.
Yeah, perfectly fine. I think I'll just sum it up quickly and we'll take a lot of questions, a lot of questions. And yeah, we're looking the whole thing very pragmatically to see what is our interest. And as we go up the value chain, our interests are supreme, values don't matter. Okay, off ramp. Off ramp, I suppose, will come about in this EPEC meet or one of these meets, I think, later this
Yeah.
month. So I suppose something will
Maybe,
happen.
maybe I think Sir off ramp is waiting for the Supreme Court decision in
Supreme
November.
Court, maybe what General Rajiv said.
Liberation
If
Day, Liberation
if
Day
the
tariffs.
U.S. Supreme Court if the U.S. Supreme Court rules that these tariffs are not tenable legally, then automatically the off ramp comes, and then in the right. But then the issue is, having gone through the past 8 months, the way things have gone, it's a roller coaster ride. We
Yeah.
have to be very clear that we also have to be very, very tactical with USA. There's no more strategic alignment. The strategic relationship is dead. Hereafter, it's only tactical. And we have to deal like what both of them brought out, and which Rajiv keeps telling. We have to deal with USA at two levels. One with Trump, tactically day to day, hour to hour, and with the other lot of USA, which is, at a larger long term issues, and that's happening. You see, look, as we are dealing with Trump, you see, we are dealing with Google separately, America Incorporated, we are dealing, and this is what
That's,
Rajiv used to tell long back, and this is what now also. I mean, we keep saying this. It is right. And then this business of ISF role, International Stabilization Force, and all that, while I would say that, look, we have to get into it with a bit of a caution, because we shouldn't get involved and sucked into those politics. If we get in a role where we are out of the politics of West Asia and, खास करके Palestine, Israel, it's good. But we need to have a role there, and we've always had a role out there, right? And of course, as we talk, as everything happens, I think our entire story will be tested by what's happening in Pakistan. Yeah. Right? And our relationship with China will hinge on it, our relationship with USA will hinge on it, and our own growth, everything will hinge on what's happening in Pakistan and how we are able to handle it. And we need to handle it this time more, in a detached manner rather than an emotional manner, because anything to do with Pakistan becomes emotional for all of us. Right. I'll leave it at that, and we'll pick it up next time when we meet. But till then, we'll take a few questions.